Okay, we are working on today constructing functions. Okay, so construct functions. When you're going to construct a function, basically the whole point of constructing functions is getting things into slope-intercept form of a line. Okay, so we're trying to rewrite everything as y equals mx plus b. Okay, we've talked about this before. The y and the x are never going to change. They're always going to be in the equation. Okay? The b, yes. The b stands for what?
I thought we were going to slope.
B is y-intercept. Okay? Another word for y-intercept is where you begin. Okay, so when we're graphing, we call that the beginning point. Okay? That's also called the initial value. Initial value. Okay? Initial value means where you start at. Okay? That's why it's called begin. So the initial value. Also today, we're going to need to know, what does M stand for? M is the slope.
Yeah.
But what does slope really tell us? Slope tells us how we move. Okay? Or this one, we're going to call it the rate of change. Okay? So rate of change is just another way of saying slope. Rate of change. Okay? So for this one, it says a shoe store offers free points when you sign up for their rewards card. Then for each pair of shoes purchased, you earn an additional number of points. The graph shows the total points earned for several pairs of shoes. Find and interpret the rate of change and initial value. So rate of change is basically the slope. Okay? So here, if we look at some points here, you always want to look at points that are like on what are called lattice points. Okay, so they're where the things cross. So here, to go from 2 pairs of shoes, so this is 2, that's 60. So let's label these points. Okay, so this point would be 2, 60. What point is this? 490. Okay, so 490. What point is this right here? 6, 120.
420.
And this one is 8, 150. Okay, so you can pick any of these points. Okay, you can pick any of these points. First thing we want to do is find the rate of change or the slope between them. Yes, dear. No. So if we're doing slope, remember slope is rise over run. So let's just randomly pick 2 points. Okay, I'm going to pick these first 2, so I'm literally just going to erase these because I don't want to see them right now. So to get from this point to this point, how much do you go up to get from here to here?
30.
You go up what?
2.
Okay, look at this.
30.
From 60 to 90 is up 30. And how far do you move over?
2.
Over 2. If you reduce that, what is that? 15.
15.
15 over 1. Okay, sorry. 15 over 1. So 15 over 1 is your what in this equation? Is it the rate of change or the initial value? Slope, which is rate of change. Okay, so rate of change is equal to 15. Okay, that's one of your answers. Then initial value, initial means where do you start at? So in this equation, they're telling you that like you're in a rewards club, okay, but the first time you sign up, you get points just for signing up. Okay, so you didn't have to purchase any pairs of shoes, and you would already have some points. How do you know you get 30 points? You just go backwards, right? That's exactly right. So here,
I was right.
you were right.
I got something right.
Good. So for every pair of shoes, how much do you go up? You go up 15 each time, right?
Yeah.
So you can go backwards. So at 1 pair of shoes, how many points would you have?
I am the one.
So this was 2, 60. So 1 would be at what?
130.
1,
30.
45, because we're going up by 15 each time. Then at 0, you would have how many points? 30. Okay? So you need to go backwards here to fill in the dots. Okay? So your initial value is equal to 30. So you're finding 2 parts here. Yes.
Harley just threw away her
15 is the rate of change. Yes. So 15 is the rate of change.
You get your own piece of paper.
Okay. Also, sometimes you're going to have just word problems, okay? So number 2 says, Joan has some photos in her photo album. Each week, she's planning on adding 12 photos. If she currently has 120 photos after 8 weeks.
Sorry.
Assume the relationship is linear. So that means if I drew a graph, it's going to be a straight line, okay? Find and interpret the rate of change and initial value. So if you want to, we could draw a picture and you could figure it out, okay? And you could graph it and it could take a long time. But there's a simpler way to do this, okay? Your equation is still going to be a y equals mx plus b equation, okay? Each week she plans to add 12 photos. What do you think that 12 photos is? Is that the y?
B. That's the.
Yeah, that's Y.
That's the.
Do you think that if she's adding 12 each week, that's your M, okay? That's your rate of change. Anytime you see like something is $50 per night, or she's adding 12 photos each week. So if you see the word each or per, P-E-R, that usually tells you that that's your slope or your rate of change. Okay, so here, rate of change is going to be 12. So rate of change equals 12. If you plug in to y equals mx plus b, what letter does rate of change get plugged in for? What letter is your rate of change?
M.
M. So 12. Do you know any of the other parts?
Why are you so quiet, Adrian?
Do you know any of the other parts?
No. Oh yeah, 120.
Joan had 120 photos after 8 weeks. So, do you think the 120 is going to be how much it's equal to, or how much you're multiplying by?
Oh, it's equal to.
Equal to. So 120 is equal to 12 photos after, what do you think goes right here?
8.
The 8. Listen, okay? After 8 weeks. So we want to figure out, what do you start with? We are solving for the B, for the initial value, okay? So when you first get these, you're going to plug them in, okay? You have to think about it like common sense wise. 120 photos, is that going to be what I'm multiplying 12 by? No, that's what it's equal to right now. So you have to figure out which one goes in for X and which one goes in for Y. Then we actually just work this out. So 120 equals, what's 12 times 8? 96 plus B. How do I get B by itself?
You have to subtract.
Subtract. So what's your initial value going to equal?
24. 24 equals
B equals 24. And what is B called?
slope.
This is your initial value. Yes. So initial value and rate of change. We're looking for initial value and rate of change. Okay, next one. It's actually a little bit easier when we have a chart like this. You need me to go back and say, Mrs. Kuhn, can you please wait for a second? Of course. All you did was scrape.
This is running out of ink.
Okay, on number 3, if you had a table, okay, the table shows how much money Ava has saved. Assume the relationship between the two quantities is linear. Listen, please. Find and interpret the initial value and rate of change. Okay, so here, to figure out rate of change here, all you have to do is figure out, how do you get from 3 to 4? What would you add? Plus 1. How do you get from 4 to 5?
Plus 1.
Plus 1. So for every time you add 1, how much is your money saved changing?
It's going up by 20.
It's going up by 20. Is that constant?
6.
Yes. Okay. So what do you think is your rate of change?
20.
Exactly. So rate of change equals 20.
This is so cool.
Okay. How would you figure out what your initial value is?
You have to set it
Initial value is what you start at. You could do the equation that we just did, and you could plug in for y equals mx plus b. Yes.
Can we just go backwards?
Or you could go backwards. That's easier. Okay? So I'm going to show you both ways, actually. Okay? Because eventually, we're not going to always have these charts, so I want you to be able to do this both ways. if I plugged in y equals mx plus b, what you would have to do is you would pick 1 point, okay, and you'd use these to plug in your rate of change. So y, if I picked this, would be 110, is equal to, what's your slope? M is 20. What's your x? 3 plus b.
Don't mess it up.
So you'd get 110 is equal to 60 plus b. So what would be your initial value? If you subtract 60, what do you get? 50. So 50 is your initial value. Okay, so you could do it that way. Or, like Josh said, it's probably a little bit easier if you have a chart like this to just go backwards. Okay? At 2 months, how much would you have? What would you do? Instead of adding 20, you would subtract 20, so you'd have 90. At 1 month, what would you have had? 70. And at 0 months, 0 means when you first start, how much did you have?
I'm behind by
50. Okay, you'd have to subtract. So you could just go backwards like this, or you can actually plug in using that formula I gave you. You can go. Okay, last one. And then I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to work. Listen, please. It says the zoo charges a rental fee plus $2 per hour for stroller. Okay, so we're going to make a y equals mx plus b equation. The $2 per hour, what do you think that's called? Is that the rate of change or, okay, listen to my question. The rate of change or is it the initial value? Rate of change. So $2 is your rate of change. Okay, that's equal to your rate of change. So how it's changing.
Who else likes just something?
Then 5 hours costs $13. So where do you think the $13 goes? For y. So 13 is equal to $2 times 5 hours plus however much it costs to start. That's how it is. Okay, so this is your total. So it's $13 is equal to $2 per hour times 5 hours plus however much it was to start. And then you can solve. So 13 equals 10 plus b. What would be your initial cost? 3. That's your answer. So $3 is your initial cost.
I'm going to do this again. It's going to take a while.
Okay, you guys have 6 problems of classwork to do on this. Okay, you have 6 problems of classwork.